Here is an organization chart that shows how the Republican Party is organized on the national, state, and county level. The following slides show the leadership at each level, along with links to each organization. There is more information in the handbook about the Republican Party, including links to congressional, state, and county elected officials and their contact information. In Florida, a precinct committee person is not just the most important elected official in our Republican Party, but the dedicated men and women who hold this position constitute the foundation of our grassroots efforts in all 67 counties in the state. Here are several hints on how to be a successful precinct committee person. During non-election years, precinct committee people build relationships with Republican voters in their precinct and with their colleagues in the Republican State Committee. Get to know your precinct by surveying registered voters about their voting preferences and opinions. Identify and register non-voters who may vote Republican. Get to know the voters in your precinct and establish personal relationships with them. The Republican Party believes in community. Take this opportunity to get to know your community better. Ask your neighbors their opinions on issues. Invite them to Republican Party events, town hall meetings with elected officials, and social gatherings with our Republican clubs. Asking people you meet to volunteer and get active in one or more organizations is a great way to help someone become a dedicated Republican voter. Please refer to your handbook for additional information. In election years, your efforts should focus on preparing to eventually get out the vote for Republican candidates on the ballot in your precinct. Remember, the more involved you are as a precinct committee person, the greater your impact will be in your precinct and your party. Among the activities precinct committee people generally enjoy the most during election years include distributing literature, walking your precinct with candidates, calling fellow Republicans for permission to put campaign signs in their yards, assisting candidates in various ways, recruiting volunteers to help you and local candidates, getting out the vote, and participating in a variety of other ways, going to meetings, special events, and fundraisers. This list is just a start. As every precinct is different, so is every campaign and the activities you may perform, which means that each campaign may rely on precinct committee people in a different way. If you are not yet a precinct committee person, it is easy to become one. Just fill out the application package for the Charlotte County Republican Executive Committee. If you are already a member, try to get others to join. Invite them to a meeting. You can also use the bottom section of the application to gauge the interests of people who may want to volunteer for the GOP. This form is something that you can take with you when you walk your precinct or when you are attending Republican events where the general public will be in attendance. If someone is interested in getting more involved with the party, have them fill out this form. If they only want to volunteer, simply write "Volunteer Only" on the form. You can then drop it off at Republican headquarters on Tamiami Trail or forward it to the chairman of the Charlotte County Republican Executive Committee. For new members, you can also give it to someone on the membership committee. In either case, someone will follow up with that person, gauge their interest, and discuss the next steps. With many elections decided by less than 1 or 2%, registering more voters is a priority for the Republican Party of Florida. For precinct committee people, it's the first step in a victory plan that will not just maintain our proper majority levels in the state legislature, but it will lay the foundation for crucial victories in congressional races and to remove President Obama from office in the 2012 election. Although the 2010 elections were successful in the sense that Republicans gained a majority in the United States House of Representatives, thus putting a stop to Barack Obama's promise to fundamentally transform America, the 2012 elections are critical because we need to elect a Republican majority in both houses of Congress, as well as electing a Republican to the White House if we want to begin the process of restoring America. To win, we need to get the maximum number of people as possible to vote for GOP candidates at the polls. This begins with registering voters. In Charlotte County, approximately 90% of eligible voting age people are actually registered to vote, so there's certainly room for a little improvement. Here are the requirements for being a voter in Florida. Take a moment to look them over. A person does not have to provide proof of American citizenship in order to register to vote. However, they must sign a sworn affidavit that they meet all voter eligibility requirements or risk a felony conviction for falsifying voter registration information. You do have to show that you are a U.S. citizen when obtaining a Florida driver's license. About half of all voters register to vote during that process. Find more in the Precinct Handbook. There is even more information to be found in the 2012 Charlotte County Precinct Committee Handbook, issued to you by the Charlotte County Republican Executive Committee. Additional information includes duties and responsibilities as a precinct committee person, organizing your precinct and the use of volunteers, voter contact activity, getting out the vote, information on volunteering, effective letter writing, and appendices that contain valuable information and resources. The handbook is a call to action, a call that you as a precinct committee person has answered, and a call that you must repeat to your fellow Republicans and other like-minded citizens of this great country. We encourage you to use the Precinct Committee Member Checklist on page 59. It is a checklist of things that you can do to keep you on target. You are part of a large and important organization. Winning elections is not easy, but if you do your part, you will hopefully experience the thrill of victory on election night.